Hi everybody, I'd like to take a few minutes here and show you my Bohlins HT24D. Now wait a minute here, Bohlins never made a HT24D. And if you're saying that, you'd be correct. This tractor started life as a Bohlins HT20D. The original owner said about 12 years ago that the original Wisconsin engine started acting up, and they parked it in a shed and just left it sit there until I got it about 3 years ago. The shed itself had no bottom, no floor to it, so all of that moisture just completely locked up that Wisconsin diesel that was in there. So my only choice was to do an engine swap to it. And I wanted to keep to the same characteristic and the originality of having a diesel, but I couldn't find a Wisconsin diesel for it. So this is my Resto Mod, Bohlins HT24D. I tried to do it in the way that Bohlins would have maybe done this back in the day. So I'll give you a quick run around of what's involved. First off, I'll show you the engine. Now the engine is a Kohler 3-cylinder liquid-cooled diesel that come out of a Bobcat side-by-side. The engine was replaced under warranty. It only had 50 hours on it. And the reason that Bobcat replaced it was the fact that this engine did not meet emission standards for the current year, so that they put a newer Kohler diesel into that Bobcat, and I just got lucky enough to come across this engine for a really good deal. It still has the 110 amp Bosch alternator on it. I had to do a little fabrication and get a muffler that would fit the tractor. Everything on this is fabricated. I made the motor mounts, front and rear. I had to make the front pulley that you see there fit on for my PTO. Now it's only 2-belt, but this PTO is only turning a pump for the front end loader. It has electric fan for the cooling, and the radiator, after lots of research, is actually out of a 1996 Honda Civic. Now the frame is the same length, but I added on a front extension that houses the battery and the fuel tank in front of the radiator, and that's where I got my length and frame from. I filled in the cutouts where the original Kohler would have sat on a gasoline version engine, give it a little more added strength. Now the hood itself had to be stretched by 3.5 inches. So there's actually multiple hoods involved, and this part here is where the stretch is. It's all steel, it's all re-welded back in. And I'd like to give a shout out to Vintage Recreations for the decal set. They made me a custom set of decals where they stretched them 3.5 inches, and then they changed it to HT24D. Here's the other side. Coolant overflow is off of a Polaris Ranger. I was able to retain the same Wisconsin air filter from the original engine. I know you can't see it, but the stub shaft was built by me to get the drive shaft to work. There's the rear motor mount and the front motor mount. Anything that was a bushing or a bearing or tie rod end has all been replaced on this. So this tractor's basically 100% brand new. Put some gauges in it. Now the temperature gauge is out of it right now because I had a little electrical problem back there that actually burned out the probe to it, but a new one will be on the way. They did a really nice job with all the decals for it. It has the 2-speed rear end. The seat I come across is from a Toro, but it has the armrests and it has a suspension seat to it. Managed to get a 3-point hitch for it, and it's the older style hitch off of an earlier tube frame or a large frame, but I made it work. I have a custom made weight box on the back for the counterbalance for the front end loader. Currently it's 415 pounds with the box and the weights in it. The loader is a Quickway loader that actually came from a Bohlins 1886. So I really didn't have to do a whole lot, although all the hydraulics were shot. So it has all new cylinders, all new lines. Has a new control valve, all new hoses. And I had to get a new pump as well. I did a little addition to the subframe. I added to the front and to the rear of it just to give a little more stability. Spread the weight out on the tractor a little better. I'll give you a quick little start up and you can hear it running. Now this is the glow plug switch. You probably won't be able to hear me once I get it running, but the bucket is a 48-inch bucket, and somebody made a quick detach for it, which is really nice. Front cylinder. three-way self-leveling motor. You have to excuse me on my video making. This is the very first video I've ever done, so. All the hoses and fittings all come from Surplus Supply. All the cylinders come from Magister Hydraulics. They are all pretty close to what the originals were. And I got real lucky finding matches. Had to do some custom bars that run from the uprights down to the front. They mount in the same place where the originals were, but they wouldn't clear the exhaust and the alternator on that side, and they wouldn't clear my air filter on this side. Steering wheel is off of a Duratrac series 5118H, as well as some of these front plates for the battery and the radiator. With this 3-point hitch, I did have to do a little cutout of the frame back in there to make it work, but the frame had been so modified on the front end where I wasn't too worried about having to do a little modification on the rear. And this weight box is fully fabricated. Had the hole in the rear fender for the original 3-point lift for a lockout, and I just added a rear light to it. That's what the extra switch up on the dash is for. Everything on it functions like it should. Like I said, I tried to keep in the same respect that Bohlins would have possibly produced this. Kept the same location for the fuel filter. Has a little oil cooler adapter on it. Well, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.